Learn English with simple stories. After listening, I will explain new words and give you questions to check your understanding. So, let's begin. Listen carefully. The Queen of Greed. Queen Regina of the Kingdom of Arida was a powerful, rich, and famous ruler. She had everything that one could dream of. Her castles were grand, filled with jewels and gold. Her people adored her and her armies were strong. But her thirst for more wealth, more power, and more control never stopped. One day, Queen Regina heard a tale of a mysterious sorceress. The sorceress lived deep in the forest, far from the kingdom. It was said that she had the power to grant any wish. Without hesitation, she ordered her royal guards to prepare her journey. After days of traveling, Queen Regina entered the dark forest with her royal guards. She stopped in front of a small, strange cottage. Inside, an old woman with glowing eyes stood waiting. Regina's eyes narrowed and she raised her chin high. "You will do as I command," she said, her voice harsh. "Remember, you are a subject of my kingdom. You must obey your queen." The sorceress smiled a little. "I will not be forced into giving you anything," she said. "I only grant gifts to those who are worthy." Regina's eyes flashed with anger. "Do you dare refuse me? I am the queen, and you will obey," she hissed. "If you refuse, I will burn down this forest and all that lives within it." The sorceress stood still, her face unreadable. "You threaten me with fire and destruction?" she asked, raising an eyebrow. "You are a queen of a peaceful kingdom, yet you resort to violence." "Very well, I accept your challenge." Queen Regina stood tall, her eyes sparkling with a wicked triumph. "My first wish," Regina declared, "is for endless wealth. I want a treasure so vast that I will never have to worry about money again." The sorceress gazed at her quietly, her expression unreadable. With a wave of her hand, the air around them shimmered with magic. In an instant, a mountain of treasures appeared in the queen's palace. Gold coins poured from the ceilings, filling the halls. Hundreds of shimmering dresses made from the finest silks were placed at her feet. Queen Regina left the forest, her heart full of greed and desire. She returned to her grand palace, surrounded by endless treasures. Weeks turned into months, and there was an emptiness growing inside her. She looked around at the piles of riches, but they felt dull, empty. Nothing felt unique, nothing felt exciting. Regina grabbed a diamond necklace, but it no longer sparkled like it had before. The shine seemed dull, faded, as though the jewels were just like any other stone. She quickly discarded the necklace and picked up another beautiful dress. But as she put it on, the fabric felt so ordinary. "Why does this dress look so ugly?" Regina screamed as she threw it to the ground. "Your Majesty, this is the most beautiful piece in our kingdom," her servant said, shaking. "More, I need more," Regina shouted, her voice cutting through the silence. Then, Queen Regina mounted her horse and rode to the heart of the forest once more. "I want more," Regina demanded, her voice sharp. "I want power, the power to control everything around me." The sorceress looked at her with a knowing gaze. And with that, the queen's body pulsed with an unstoppable force. Regina lifted her hand and the wind began to swirl around her. With a snap of her fingers, rain began to fall from the sky. She raised her other hand and the clouds parted, leaving a clear blue sky. She was truly the most powerful person in the world. She was a queen like no other, with infinite power at her fingertips. At first, Regina felt invincible. She enjoyed watching the world bend to her will. She made the sun rise and set whenever she wished. She controlled the storms, making them appear and disappear at will. But soon, things began to change. The people in her kingdom no longer admired her, they feared her. Her servants worked in fear, never speaking a word to her unless necessary. Her closest friends, those who once stood by her side, now avoided her. They were all afraid of her power, afraid of the queen who could control everything. She realized that her power had made her more alone than ever before. She had the world at her feet, but she had no one to share it with. Once more, Queen Regina seeked for the sorceress. "I want to be eternal," she said to the sorceress when she arrived. "My wealth, my power, my endless treasures, they would all one day be gone. Grant me eternal life so I may remain here forever." The sorceress, with a heavy sigh, nodded. "Very well," she said, "your wish shall be granted." Regina stood still as the magic washed over her. She could feel the power of immortality flow through her. Days went by and Queen Regina enjoyed the immoral life to the fullest. Her body would never grow old, never tire, never fade. She felt no pain, no weakness, she was now eternal. Then years went by. Decades went by. Her friends began to die, one by one, leaving her behind. The people of her kingdom who had once adored her now feared her. They saw her as an eternal ruler, unchanging but distant. Her immortality was not a gift, it was a curse. As the years continued to stretch into decades, everything around Regina began to crumble. Buildings that had stood for centuries were falling apart. Crops failed and the markets grew empty. The people of the kingdom, unable to endure the suffering any longer, began to leave. And so, the once great kingdom that Regina ruled became a hollow shell of its former self. In the end, there was only Regina sitting alone in her empty palace. She had gained the world, but lost the very things that made life worth living. For the first time in centuries, Regina rode once more into the forest. I have lost my people, my kingdom, my friends. My wealth and power mean nothing. My immortality has only brought me loneliness. Regina fell to her knees before the sorceress, her heart heavy with regret. The sorceress nodded slowly, her expression filled with sorrow. Greed is never the key to happiness. Happiness comes only when we learn to appreciate what we have. The sorceress continued, now, you must decide, will you continue to live in your endless prison? Or will you choose to live fully, like all who are bound by time? Regina looked up, her eyes filled with hope. I choose to feel the joys of life, even if it means facing its end. The sorceress raised her hand, and Regina felt the magic that had bound her for so long begin to fade. Her gold disappeared, her power faded, and most importantly, her body began to age. She was a common woman, bound to nothing but time, but finally at peace with herself. As the sorceress watched, Regina walked away from the forest, her heart lighter than it had ever been. And though she would one day face her end, Regina had finally found what she had been seeking all along. The simple, beautiful joy of living with what she truly possessed. Let me explain some new words from these stories. Queen. Queen. Thirst. Thirst. Sorceress. Sorceress. Hesitation. Hesitation. Journey. Journey. Command. Command. Grant. Grant. Unstoppable. Unstoppable. Swirl. Swirl. Immortal. Immortal. Invincible. Invincible. Admire. Admire. Control. Control. Shimmer. Shimmer. Treasure. Treasure. Dull. Dull. Discard. Discard. Desire. Desire. Regret. Regret. Crumble. Crumble. Fade. Fade. Loneliness. Loneliness. Prison. Prison. Joy. Joy. Lastly, let's answer the following questions. Question 1. What did Queen Regina desire at the beginning of the story? Answer. She wanted more wealth, power, and control. Question 2. Why did Queen Regina visit the sorceress in the forest? Answer: she wanted to grant herself wishes. Question 3. What did the sorceress do after Regina made her first wish? Answer: the sorceress granted Regina's wish and a mountain of treasures appeared in her palace. Question 4. How did Regina feel about her wealth after a few months? Answer: she felt emptiness growing inside her and the treasures felt dull and ordinary. Question 5. What did Regina demand after she grew dissatisfied with her wealth? Answer: she demanded more power to control everything around her. Question 6. What effect did Regina's newfound power have on her relationships with others? Answer: her power made people fear her and she became more isolated and lonely. Question 7. What was Regina's final wish and what did she realize afterward? Answer: her final wish was for eternal life, but she realized it brought her loneliness instead of happiness. Today's story is very meaningful, right? Do you like listening to short stories? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Now, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Leave a comment on what you would like to learn next. See you next time. Goodbye.